Jay, I need you to look me in the eyes and explain to me what we just watched, because I am unwell.
I need everyone listening to stop what you are doing, put down whatever you are holding, pull your car over to the side of the road, and listen to me very carefully.
Literally, pull over right now.
We are witnessing the complete collapse of male emotional intelligence in real time. The men in that villa have collectively, entirely, and without a shadow of a doubt, lost their absolute minds.
I have never seen anything like it.
The entire premise of this show has been put in a blender, hit on the highest speed, and served back to us as a highly toxic, radioactive smoothie of regret and sheer delusion. I am breathless. I am pacing my living room.
I was screaming at my television.
I have never seen a group of men self-sabotage this spectacularly in the history of reality television. It is a masterclass in hubris. It really is.
It's insane.
You watch this unfold, and you have to wonder if they somehow forgot that cameras are recording their every move. They act like they're operating in total secrecy, only to be immediately exposed to the very women they betrayed. It's not just a fumble. It's a systematic dismantling of their own character arcs.
Go completely. But before we get into all of that, I have to do our official welcome. Babes, welcome back. We love you. We see you. And babes, we officially made it to Thursday night. The weekend is waving at us, and honestly, we're waving right back.
We are waving frantically. Like, we are stranded on a desert island, we are out of rations, and the weekend is a passing cruise ship that we are trying to signal with a flare gun.
Exactly. And to celebrate our collective survival of this week, we need to do a mandatory drink check. Snark Squad, I hope you have your glasses ready, whatever you are drinking, because we have frozen peach Prosecco slushies on deck tonight.
And let the record show, these are absolutely carrying the summer vibes right now. They are doing the heavy lifting.
Carrying them on their back. It is the absolute perfect ratio of peach nectar to Prosecco blended to this incredible, icy perfection.
It really hits the spot.
Cheers to you. Cheers to the Snark Squad for almost making it through the week. And cheers to whatever remaining sanity we have left. Because this heat wave we are in right now is actively trying to take it from us.
It really is oppressive. It feels like beach weather every single day. You step outside to get the mail, and the air is just thick.
So thick.
You instantly start sweating through your clothes. It's the kind of heat where your brain just sort of slows down to conserve energy.
Which is deeply, deeply unfair. Because somehow, despite it being gorgeous, cinematic beach weather every single day, I did not magically wake up with a beach body.
Sadly, no.
I checked the mirror this morning, hoping for a miracle, and nothing had changed.
It's profoundly disappointing. You go to bed thinking, tomorrow is the day the metamorphosis happens, and then you wake up and nope, still just regular old me, staring at my closet, trying to figure out what fabric won't stick to my skin.
Right. I was really manifesting hot girl summer this year. I had the vision board, I had the Pinterest aesthetic saved, I had the matching workout sets in my cart.
Oh, the workout sets are crucial.
But mostly, I've just been manifesting snacks. Every time I sit down and try to manifest a toned core, I somehow manifest a family-sized bag of sour cream and onion chips into my lap instead.
Well, let's be real for a second. Is a beach body even a physical thing anymore?
Tell me it's not.
I'm starting to think that delusional confidence is the actual beach body. You just have to put on the swimsuit, march out there, and strut around like you own the sand, regardless of what's happening objectively. Just pure, unadulterated audacity.
Oh, I love that so much. Delusional confidence is my official new aesthetic. I am writing that down. But you know what doesn't help our collective self-esteem?
Do tell.
Love Island. The show promotes completely unrealistic standards. You look at everyone in that villa, and they somehow look incredible 24 hours a day.
It's baffling.
Think about what they are going through. They are enduring psychological warfare. They are sleep-deprived. They are crying their eyes out, betraying each other, screaming across the fire pit, and they still wake up with perfect blowouts and a six-pack. How is that scientifically possible?
It's the sheer power of youth, incredible genetics, and very, very expensive lighting setups. The production crew knows exactly how to light that outdoor space.
True. The lighting is amazing.
But honestly, I wouldn't trade my current lifestyle for their stress levels, or their diets for that matter. Which brings us to our weekly foodie regrets, or, in this case, a complete lack thereof.
Oh my gosh, zero regrets. None. Listen to this. I have to confess to you and the Snark Squad, I had the most incredible dinner last night, and it was 100% worth every single calorie.
Okay, set the scene for us, paint the picture. What are we talking about here?
We are talking about a handmade, perfectly al dente rigatoni. And it was bathing in This rich, creamy, spicy vodka sauce that had just the exact right amount of kick to it.
Okay, you have my full attention.
And sitting right on top, a massive, glorious ball of fresh burrata. You take your knife, you slice it open, and the cool cream just oozes out and melts right into the hot pasta sauce.
Stop! I am salivating. I can vividly see this in my mind.
And then, as if that wasn't enough, the waiter came over and shaved fresh Parmesan over the entire thing until I told him to stop.
Which I assume took a very long time.
Obviously. The perfect bite was a piece of the rigatoni, holding onto that thick sauce in the ridges with a little dollop of the cool burrata melting into it. It was a spiritual experience.
A religious awakening.
It was transcendent. Good food is quite literally one of life's greatest joys, and I refuse to feel bad about it.
It is undeniable. A meal like that validates your soul. So this brings up the ultimate philosophical debate.
I'm ready.
If you had a magic wand, would you rather have a rock-hard six-pack of abs forever or be able to eat amazing, decadent pasta like that whenever you want without ever thinking about it?
Pasta. Amazing food every single time. It's not even a competition.
Every single time, without hesitation, I will happily choose the pasta, put on a slightly oversized linen shirt, harness my delusional confidence, and call it a day. That is the blueprint for happiness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are living for the joy. We are romanticizing our lives. And speaking of slightly oversized linen shirts and romanticizing things, can we spiral for a second about our faux luxury lives?
Oh, please, let's.
Because decorating our new apartments has become slightly unhinged lately.
Slightly is the understatement of the century. It is a full-blown financial crisis.
I have been spending hours, like literal hours, late at night, looking at absurdly expensive furniture that I have been pretending I can afford.
Yeah.
I have Pinterest boards filled with luxury inspiration photos that I will never, ever financially recover from.
Oh, I know the bores.
I'm looking at $5,000 modular cloud couches like, yes, this makes sense for my space. This is a reasonable investment for someone who spills coffee on a weekly basis.
It's a sickness. It's an algorithm-induced sickness. You start looking at imported Italian marble coffee tables, and suddenly the perfectly fine $300 one from Target looks insulting to you, even though that Target table is your actual realistic budget.
Right.
You start judging the veneer like you're suddenly a master carpenter.
I literally convinced myself the other day that if I just buy one single overpriced designer candle, you know, the ones that cost like $85 and smell like wood smoke, old libraries, and expensive secrets?
Like rich people candles.
Yes. I convinced myself that lighting it would somehow magically make my entire apartment feel like a penthouse suite. I completely bought into this fantasy.
Oh, the delusion is so real. You light the $85 candle, the room smells like wealth for about 10 minutes, but you're sitting on a dining chair that wobbles because one leg is a quarter inch shorter than the others.
Literally me.
Are we actually achieving quiet luxury here, or is it just giving Facebook Marketplace chic?
It is aggressively giving Facebook Marketplace chic, and we both know it. But it's fine. It's totally fine, because we are balancing out the faux luxury and the pasta with our wellness era. We actually have to congratulate each other and the Snark Squad because we both actually made it to our Pilates class this morning.
We did. It was a monumental struggle to get out of bed, but we showed up and we did the work.
I just can't decide if I'm genuinely getting stronger, or if my core is adapting, or if I am just getting better at pretending the planks don't hurt.
Oh, I can answer that for you. It's an acting exercise. You aren't getting stronger.
Oh, thanks.
You just learn how to grimace internally while keeping your facial expression completely neutral so the instructor doesn't come over and physically correct your form. It's all about avoiding eye contact with the instructor in the mirror.
That is so true. And the absolute best part is we immediately rewarded ourselves with those massive dinners, effectively canceling out every single plank we did.
Balance. It's all about maintaining the delicate ecosystem of balance.
But babes, enough about our fake luxury lifestyles. Let's head into the villa where everyone's pretending they're emotionally available.
Let's get right into it because this episode was a masterclass in chaotic energy. Before we break down the specific couples, I want to talk about the structural pacing of this episode because that is what really struck me.
Yeah, the vibe was crazy.
This entire episode felt incredibly self-contained. Normally, reality TV episodes span a full day or two, but this basically took place over just a couple of hours. It was entirely nighttime villa footage, picking up exactly where the recoupling fire pit left off.
Yes. It felt like real-time fallout.
Yeah.
You could literally see the adrenaline wearing off the islanders and the sheer panic setting in. The boys who return from Casa Amor are experiencing the fastest onset of regret in reality television history.
It was immediate.
Usually, they drag out the conflict. They pretend they are conflicted between the new girl and the old girl. They pull people for little chats on the terrace. But not this time. They drop their new Casa girls almost the second they walk through the front door.
It was historical levels of fumbling. The ink wasn't even dry on their recoupling choices. They hadn't even unpacked their suitcases, and they were already sprinting back to their original partners, begging for forgiveness.
Completely unhinged.
To understand why this is happening, we have to look at the mechanics of the show. For those listening who might not be completely immersed in the terminology, Casa Amor is the ultimate sociological stress test.
It's torture, basically.
They take the established couples, physically separate them into two different villas for several days, cut off all contact, and introduce a dozen new, ridiculously attractive people whose sole objective is to break up the existing couples. It is isolation warfare designed to test loyalty.
It's the ultimate temptation. And the rule is, at the end of those few days, you sit around the fire pit and you have to decide. Do you stick with your original partner, hoping they also stayed loyal? Or do you recouple with someone new from Casa Amor? It's high stakes.
Very high stakes.
And let's start with the absolute disaster class that is Simba, Angelista, and Mara, or as I like to call it, the reign of the Lion King.
The Lion King. Truly an iconic moniker that Priya bestowed upon him. It belongs in a museum.
I am still reeling from this betrayal. I am so mad for Angelista. Let's walk through what happened. Simba chooses to recouple. He brings Mara back into the main villa.
A terrible choice.
He stands there at the fire pit looking incredibly smug, holding Mara's hand, while Angelista is sitting there single because she stayed loyal to him. And when the host asks him why he recoupled, he claims he was just focusing on self-development.
Yes, the weaponization of therapy speak. We need to dissect this immediately.
How on earth can he stand there, look Angelista in the eye, and say that his heart is still with her, that he wants to be the best version of himself for her, when Mara, the actual human woman he just actively chose to recouple with, is standing right next to him? It is insulting to both women.
It is wildly insulting. This is where we have to analytically break down the sheer hypocrisy of his language. Let's rewind the tape. Before Casa Amor happened, before the separation, Simba pulled Angelista aside, looked her deep in the eyes, and told her she was the woman he prayed for.
I remember that. I thought it was so romantic at the time.
Because it's designed to sound romantic. But this is a classic manipulation tactic. You cannot use heavy spiritual language like that, invoking a higher power, claiming this is a divine, predestined connection, and then immediately move mad the second you are placed in a different building. It invalidates everything.
Yeah, it completely does.
Think about why men use this kind of language early in a relationship. They use terms like twin flame or soulmate or the one I prayed for to fast-track trust. They are trying to bypass the actual hard work of building a foundation of consistency and reliability. If he can convince her that the universe brought them together, she will lower her guard faster.
I completely agree. It is so manipulative. It's a shortcut to intimacy. And the girls in the villa rightfully clocked it. I was cheering at my television when the girls rallied around Angelista.
They were not having it.
They did let him get away with his word salad. Priya and Jasmine were not holding back. Priya looking him dead in the face, dubbing him the Lion King, and telling Angie she dodged a massive bullet. That was peak television. It felt so good to see women holding a man accountable in real time.
It was completely deserved. And what's fascinating to me is the absolute absurdity of Simba's conversation with Mara later that night. We have to look at this from a logical perspective.
Oh my gosh, that conversation.
The dust settles from the fire pit. He pulls Mara again, the girl he just brought back, the one he supposedly had this undeniable, mind-blowing connection with, and he tells her, if Angelista leaves the villa, I'm leaving too.
Why? I was screaming at my screen. Why on earth would you pull the new girl for a chat, look at her, and say you're going to pack your bags if your ex leaves? What was the point of bringing Mara in the first place? I think he just panicked. He got to Casa Amor, felt insecure that Angelista might find someone else, and grabbed Mara as a safety blanket.
I agree with the safety blanket theory, but his execution is where it makes zero logical sense. What is Mara supposed to do with that information? She is a human being, not a prop.
Yep.
She rightly looked at him and said, well, that's your answer then. She clocked him immediately. He's just saying words, hoping something sticks. He wants to keep Mara on the hook just in case Angelista never forgives him. But he also wants to loudly declare his loyalty to Angelista so he doesn't look like the villain to the public. He is trying to self-produce his own redemption arc and failing miserably.
It reminds me of a toddler at a buffet. Hear me out.
Okay, let's hear the analogy.
The toddler put the chocolate cake on his plate. That's Mara. But now he's standing in the middle of the restaurant, crying his eyes out, because he wants the apple pie that he willingly left on the dessert table. That's Angelista.
That's spot on.
He wants both desserts. He physically cannot have both desserts. And instead of just eating the cake he chose, he's throwing a massive tantrum, hoping his mom will just give him the pie.
That is a phenomenal analogy. It perfectly captures the immaturity and the choice paralysis. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, to what this means for them in the real world, Simba's definition of a lad's holiday is a terrifying red flag for any future relationship. Oh, terrifying.
He literally defended his actions in Casa Amor by saying it was a different environment. So what happens when they leave the show? What happens when he goes to Ibiza with his boys for a weekend? Is he going to claim he needed some self-development and kiss a bartender? The compartmentalization is toxic.
Completely toxic. And sadly, he wasn't the only one using that ridiculous excuse to justify his behavior. Let's pivot to Kavan.
Yes. Kavan and the infamous separate bubble theory.
I could not believe my ears. I had to rewind the episode. Kavan actually tried to defend his actions to Jasmine by saying he viewed Casa Amor as a separate bubble where the main villa just didn't exist. He essentially argued that because he was in a different location, his relationship with Jasmine was paused.
I wanted to reach through the screen and shake him. This right here is the exact psychological mechanism that is ruining modern dating.
It really is. It is the absolute epitome of out of sight, out of mind. It's cognitive dissonance in action. Kavan likes Jasmine, but he also wanted to experience the thrill of a new connection with Charlene. To avoid seeing himself as a bad guy, his brain constructed a physical barrier, the Casa Amor villa, and turned it into a moral barrier. He convinced himself that actions inside the bubble have no consequences outside the bubble.
It's like he lacks basic object permanence. Just because you can't physically see Jasmine making her morning coffee doesn't mean your relationship with her ceases to exist in the space-time continuum.
Exactly. It's the same mechanism people use on dating apps. The person on the screen doesn't feel real until they are right in front of you, and the backpedal Kavan did was legendary. Have you ever seen someone fold so quickly?
Never. He walks in with Charlene, looking nervous. He sees Jasmine standing there single, looking absolutely incredible, holding her head high, and he immediately panics. His entire demeanor shifts. He turns to Charlene, the girl he just uprooted her life to bring to the main villa, and says, I have to live with my decision.
Which is objectively the most depressing reassurance you could possibly give a new partner. Like, I have to live with this terrible burden I've brought upon myself, which is you.
It was so mean. And then, literally within 12 hours of the sun coming up, he runs to Jasmine and says he made a mistake and wants her back. 12 hours.
And we have to talk about Jasmine's reaction, because this is where the dynamic gets interesting.
It was peak boss energy. She took the absolute high road. He tries to manipulate her, right? He uses the soft voice and says, I can't be perfect all the time. And he's clearly fishing for her to comfort him. He wants her to say, it's okay, we all make mistakes. And she completely ignores the bait.
She gave him nothing.
She doesn't raise her voice. She just looks at him totally calm and reminds him it's not your call anymore.
It was brilliant. She denied him the emotional reaction he was seeking. She gray-rocked him. By not yelling, by not crying, she maintained all the power in the dynamic. She shut the door in his face with pure, icy logic. But, and I know we might disagree on this, we have to look at the collateral damage. Charlene is crying in the corner of the villa. And frankly, I have zero sympathy for her.
Wait, I totally disagree. I feel awful for her. She's sitting there weeping. Why don't you have sympathy?
Because I look at this logically. She is the Casa girl. She knows the premise of the show. She applied for the show, went through casting, and was placed in Casa Amor with one explicit job to tempt men who are already coupled up.
Yeah, but still.
If a man folds that easily for you after knowing you for 2 days, you have to know logically that he is going to fold easily when he is face-to-face with his original partner again. What did she expect? A fairy tale romance built on a foundation of a 3-day betrayal.
You are looking at this way too clinically. You're forgetting the human element. The villa is an intense pressure cooker. They are stripped of their phones, their friends, their music. Every emotion is amplified. So yes, maybe logically she should have known Kavan was flaky, but it is deeply humiliating to be dropped that fast on national television. She thought she had a real connection. I feel a tiny bit bad for her.
I acknowledge the humiliation factor, but she still needs to dry her eyes because Kavan dropped her in 12 hours. It's almost too fast to even mourn. Though, to be fair to Kavan, and I hate being fair to Kavan, he and Jasmine did self-sabotage a lot before Casa Amor anyway. They were always overthinking things, never really communicating deeply. Their foundation was already cracked.
That's true. They were rocky. But Kavan's complete 180 is historical levels of fumbling. He threw away a solid connection to chase a momentary distraction, and now he is completely isolated. He is neither woman.
This specific situation raises a much broader, more important question about the state of this television show. I firmly believe, and I've said this before, that Liam and Millie, the winners from a few seasons ago, completely ruined the metagame of Love Island.
Oh my gosh, yes. Explain this concept to the Snark Squad, because this is so incredibly true, and it explains everything we're seeing.
For context, a few seasons ago, a contestant named Liam went to Casa Amor. He moved mad, he kissed new girls, he entertained the temptation entirely. But at the final fire pit, he chose to return to the main villa single, to his partner Millie. The truth came out, Millie was devastated.
I remember it was awful.
Liam then spent the next 2 weeks groveling, writing her speeches, making grand romantic gestures. Millie eventually forgave him, and the public loved the redemption arc so much that they voted them the winners of the entire season.
They won the money.
Exactly. And ever since that specific season, these boys think Casa Amor is a free pass. They have reverse-engineered the winner's edit. They think they can go into Casa Amor, do whatever they want, cause maximum emotional damage, and as long as they follow the formula, apologize profusely, look sad by the pool, and make a grand gesture, they can apologize their way out of the betrayal and still win the show. They treat it like a math equation. Betrayal plus groveling equals screen time and victory.
Yes. Yeah. They think the apology tour is a mandatory part of the winner's edit. But what they don't realize is that these girls this season are not having it. They aren't playing the role of the forgiving victim. Speaking of apologies and victims, let's talk about Samraj, Micah, and the crocodile tears.
Crocodile tears indeed. This is where my cynicism truly peaks.
Okay, let's set the stage. Samraj finally cracks, the guilt gets to him, he pulls Micah aside and confesses. He admits to kissing Martha out of a challenge in Casa Amor, and he admits to cuddling in bed with Mara at night. And Micah immediately breaks down in tears. She is sobbing. And honestly, my first instinct as an emotional person is to defend her. I believe she's genuinely heartbroken. She waited for him, she trusted him, and he betrayed that trust.
Okay, I have to stop you right there. I am shutting this defense down immediately. We are not doing this.
Why? Did you see her face?
Okay.
She looked completely devastated.
Because it is deeply, profoundly hypocritical. Do we all have collective amnesia? Have we, as a viewing audience, forgotten how Micah and Samraj both moved dirty with Priya before Casa Amor even started?
Oh.
I mean, let me remind you, Samraj was coupled up with Priya. Micah wanted Samraj. They were sneaking around the villa, having secret conversations, being shady, playing with Priya's feelings, and showing zero empathy for how Priya felt. And now, suddenly, Micah is the patron saint of loyalty and heartbreak because it happened to her. No, I don't buy the depth of these tears.
Okay, that is a fair point. They were definitely messy with Priya, and karma has a way of coming back around. But seeing her cry and tell him, "Don't touch me," it felt real in the moment. People can be hypocritical and still experience genuine pain. They are isolated in there. Attachments form fast. That trauma bonding is real.
Let's examine her actions, not just her emotions. This is where it becomes absolute comedy to me. She is sobbing. She is telling him not to touch her. She is acting like the ultimate irreproachable victim of a devastating betrayal. And then, an hour later, when the lights go out and it's time to go to sleep, what does she do?
She goes outside.
She proceeds to sleep outside on a daybed. But she doesn't do it alone. She sleeps on the daybed with him.
The outside bit. I spiraled over this. I was yelling at the TV. But look, I have a theory. I still think sleeping outside together shows she still wants him to make a grand gesture. She wants to be angry. She feels the need to punish him. But she doesn't want to actually lose him. It's a cry for a romantic apology. It's her saying, "I'm mad at you, but don't leave me alone."
Or, here's my analytical theory. It is her actively playing the victim for the cameras because she knows they need a redemption arc to get to the finale. She is highly aware of the Liam and Millie blueprint we just discussed. She knows they can't win the public vote if they just brush his betrayal under the rug. So she has to perform the heartbreak. She has to storm out to the daybed, create a visually dramatic scene of them sleeping in the cold, and let him grovel for a few days so the public votes for their journey. It is purely strategic self-production.
You are so incredibly cynical. You think every single tear is calculated.
Not every tear, just the ones that happen to perfectly align with the beneficial narrative arc.
I see your point, even if I want to believe in love. But let's move to someone who is definitely not playing a game, who is operating purely on self-respect, and that is Yasmin. Her unbothered era is everything I aspire to be.
Yasmin is a revelation. The psychological dynamic between her and Lorenzo is fascinating. Let's look at the setup. Lorenzo decided to recouple. He brought back Julia from Casa Amor. Yasmin also decided to recouple. She brought back Tommy. They both mutually recoupled. In theory, this should be the cleanest break in Love Island history.
Exactly. No one is left single. No one is sitting alone at the fire pit. It's a clean slate. But the absolute audacity of Lorenzo. Instead of being relieved that he doesn't have to deal with a crying ex, instead of being happy that they both mutually moved on and avoided a massive, dramatic fallout, Lorenzo is visibly angry. He is actually mad that Yasmin isn't crying over him.
It is a toxic ego trip of epic proportions. It is classic narcissistic behavior. He doesn't want Yasmin, but he desperately needs Yasmin to want him. So he pulls her for a chat, and he literally asks her, his voice dripping with condescension, "Why are you speechless? Why aren't you fighting for this?"
He wanted her to be devastated. He wanted to walk into that villa with his new girl, Julia, see Yasmin standing there, single and crying, so he could feel like the most desired, powerful man in the room. He needed that ego stroke.
It is so gross. It's the definition of wanting your cake and eating it too, but wanting the cake to cry about being eaten.
It reminds me exactly of Jonas.
Wait, who?
Jonas, the polygamist from that documentary series we watched a few months ago. The psychology is identical.
Oh my gosh, yes. Unpack this for the listeners. This is such a good comparison.
In that documentary, Jonas was a guy who demanded a divorce from his wife. He treated her terribly, he pushed for the separation, he constantly told her he didn't want to be with her. But the second she actually signed the divorce papers, the second she accepted it and seemed okay with moving on, he completely lost his mind. He got enraged that she wasn't begging him to stay. He wanted to discard her, but he demanded that she mourn the loss of him forever. Lorenzo is operating on that exact same wavelength. He wants to discard Yasmin for Julia, but he is furious that Yasmin isn't performing a mourning ritual for him.
It's terrifying when you break it down like that. But that's exactly why we have to celebrate Yasmin. She completely short-circuited his ego trip. She found exactly her type in Tommy, who, by the way, is gorgeous. And she paid Lorenzo absolute dust. She just looked at him like he was a slightly annoying mosquito buzzing around her head. She didn't give an inch of satisfaction. It was a massive win for women everywhere.
It was a masterclass in emotional detachment. She starved his ego. Now, speaking of people who are very much attached and whose emotions are very much on the surface, we need to talk about Finn, Ellie, and the tear streak of the century.
Oh, Ellie. We love Ellie. We really do. But this was rough. So here's the situation. The Casa girls who weren't picked are standing at the fire pit with the host, Maya Jama, before they are dumped. And Olivia, the ultimate snitch, bless her heart, decides to scorch the earth on her way out. She tells the whole villa that Finn moved respectfully, but that they definitely had a romantic connection and shared a bed.
The visual of Ellie after this revelation was dropped will be permanently burned into my memory. It belongs in the Louvre.
We absolutely lost our minds over her makeup. We paused the TV, she was crying, which is understandable, but she had this iconic foundation streak. A single thick tear had rolled down her face, cutting through her bronzer, and it literally looked like a lightning bolt going straight down her cheek.
It was a topographical map of her sorrow, carved directly into her contour. It was high art.
She pulls Finn for a confrontation immediately. She demands the truth about what happened in that bed with Olivia. And Finn, standing there with a straight face, looks her dead in the eye and claims that his body physically rejected the Casa girl.
I need to understand the physiological mechanics of this lie. What does that even mean? Is he allergic to her? Did his immune system view Olivia as a pathogen? Did he break out in hives when she got near him?
I was dying. He literally said he leaned in to try and kiss her, and his body just physically wouldn't let him do it. Like an invisible force field of loyalty stopped his lips.
I find this excuse incredibly hilarious because it is so wildly inventive. Most guys just say, "I realized I liked you more." Finn brings somatic nervous system responses into the equation. But listen, let's analyze this. If Finn is lying about this, if he actually did crack on with Olivia and he is currently minimizing it to save himself, movie night is going to destroy him.
Oh, for those who don't know, movie night is the most terrifying event of the season. They set all the Islanders down, give them popcorn, and project high-definition clips of exactly what they all did behind each other's backs on a massive screen. It's brutal. And movie night will end, Finn. Ellie takes no prisoners.
Exactly. Reality TV acts as a panopticon. They forget they are being filmed, but the cameras never sleep. If Ellie sits there and sees a clip of Finn eagerly kissing Olivia after he just stood there and claimed his body went into anaphylactic shock to avoid it, he is getting dumped into the pool, literally and metaphorically.
Without a doubt. He better start swimming now.
Okay.
Now, we have some leftovers to sweep up from the episode before we get to our segments. Let's talk about Sean.
Sean. the biggest gossip in the entire villa.
It is wild to watch him operate. He and Lola are the only couple who stayed completely loyal during Casa Amor. They had no drama. They are in the strongest, most secure position to win the show. But Sean cannot help himself. He is a chaos agent. He immediately starts spilling tea to Lola about Lorenzo and Julia. He's whispering in the kitchen about how Julia was flirting with him in a challenge, unprovoked.
Which naturally prompts Lola to get defensive and call Julia a bitch. It is so messy. Why is Sean stirring the pot when he has absolutely no reason to? He's safe.
Why do you think he does it? Like, what's his problem?
Because he's bored. The psychology of the villa is that it relies on conflict for entertainment. When you're in a stable, secure couple in that environment, you have nothing to do. You become the neighborhood watch. He is looking out the metaphorical window with his binoculars, inventing drama to keep himself entertained. Plus, subconsciously, he might be trying to ensure other couples fight so his couple looks better to the voting public.
That makes total sense. We also quickly have to drag Aiden.
Please, we must.
Aiden asking for kisses like it's a currency. Someone on Reddit literally did a fan count, and they calculated that Aiden has asked for over 140 kisses since he arrived in the villa. Can I have a kiss? Give us a kiss.
It is deeply, deeply uncomfortable to watch. It's not romantic, it's transactional. It's like he's trying to punch a loyalty card at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Every 10 kisses, he gets a free iced latte. It removes all the organic chemistry from a connection.
Ugh, yes. And finally, a quick farewell to the unpicked Casa cast who were brutally dumped on the spot. Neve, Olivia, Will, Aaron, and Carlos.
Carlos. Poor Carlos. We have to pour one out for Carlos. He tried so hard to woo Priya. He pulled out all the stops. He tried to speak Spanish to her. He completely failed. And you just know he was furiously deleting the Duolingo app from his phone on his long flight back to the UK.
All that Spanish practice for absolutely nothing. Adios, Carlos. Okay, let's transition smoothly into our first segment of the evening, the grafting report.
I look forward to this every week.
The mission here is to discuss who put in the most effort this episode and who completely coasted. I'll go first for most effort.
Let's hear your defense.
I am officially nominating Yasmin for most effort.
Interesting choice. Defend it.
Think about the psychological toll of her situation. She put in the immense emotional and mental effort to completely detach from Lorenzo's toxic energy. That is not an easy thing to do in an enclosed environment where you literally have to see the person who hurt you every single day. She secured a man who is actually her exact type in Tommy, brought him back, and then, the hardest part, which requires so much effort, she refused to give Lorenzo the dramatic, crying reaction he was practically begging for. Maintaining your composure and staying unbothered takes so much active effort when someone is intentionally trying to provoke you.
That is a very solid argument. Emotional regulation is the hardest graft of all. It requires immense self-control. However, I am taking a different approach. My nomination for most effort goes to the Casa girls, specifically Olivia and Nivea.
Yes, the snitches. I love them.
Let's look at their strategic effort. They came in during Maya Jama's questioning at the fire pit. They knew they weren't picked. They knew they were likely flying home in a few hours. And instead of just crying or staying quiet, they chose to absolutely air out the boys' dirty laundry with zero hesitation. They didn't owe those boys anything, and they chose chaos and truth. They gave us the narrative propulsion we needed for the next 3 episodes. That is top-tier effort for screen time. They worked for their paycheck in their final 5 minutes.
Absolute fair. I respect a woman who burns the bridge while she's still standing on it. But now, we have to talk about who coasted. And I think we have unanimous agreement on this one.
Simba, without a shadow of a doubt.
Simba. It has to be Simba.
I will rip into him for this because it offends me on a structural level. He put zero, and I mean zero, effort into a proper apology. A normal, functioning human being who realizes they messed up would grovel, apologize sincerely, and acknowledge the specific pain they caused. Instead, Simba tried to coast by using therapy buzzwords as a shield. Self-development, finding the best version of myself, I prayed for you. He just threw an emotional word salad at Angelista and expected her to accept it as an apology. It is lazy. It is intellectual cowardice.
It was so lazy he didn't want to do the actual emotional labor of making amends. And I am going to add Kavan to the coasted list as an honorable mention.
Oh, absolutely. He deserves to be on that list.
Because thinking that looking at a crying girl, a girl you just uprooted and brought to a new house, and saying, I have to live with my decision, is a valid way to comfort her. That is coasting on basic human empathy. He did the absolute bare minimum, and somehow his bare minimum actively made the situation worse.
They are both walking disasters. Which brings us beautifully to segment 2, Villa Interior Design.
This is my favorite segment. The mission. We assigned each islander a specific home decorating style based entirely on their personality and behavior from this specific episode. You start.
I am starting with Simba, and I am assigning him the live, laugh, love aesthetic.
Oh no, that's harsh.
But wait, I'm adding a layer. It's not just a wooden sign from Home Goods. It is live, laugh, love, written aggressively in crayon directly onto the drywall.
Okay, you have to explain the psychological mechanism behind this metaphor.
Because he talks entirely in meaningless, contradictory Pinterest quotes. Best version of myself. Prayed for you, my heart is with you. None of these phrases actually mean anything when you look at his tangible actions. Just like a mass-produced live, laugh, love sign doesn't actually mean you're living a joyful, authentic life. It's performative. And the crayon represents his childish, immature application of these adult concepts. He's a child playing with the vocabulary of an emotionally intelligent adult.
That is incredibly accurate and devastating. Okay, I've got Kavan. I am assigning Kavan dorm room chic.
Please elaborate on the specifics of this dorm room.
Picture it in your mind. You walk in, and there is a single twin-size mattress lying directly on the floor. No bed frame. No headboard. There is one crusty towel hanging over a folding chair, and those cheap strip LED lights stuck to the ceiling where the adhesive is peeling off.
Are they the LED lights that cycle rapidly through primary colors?
Exactly. Red, blue, green, aggressively strobing. And why? Because his object permanence, his entire separate bubble theory regarding Casa Amor, is operating at the exact emotional and cognitive level of an 18-year-old college freshman who just moved out of his parents' house for the very first time. He has no concept of long-term consequences. He has no structural integrity in his relationships, much like he has no structural integrity in his bedding.
That is a brilliant synthesis of his character. You walk into that room and immediately know you're going to get your heart broken because the man cannot even commit to a box spring. Okay, let's look at Yasmin. I am assigning her sleek, minimalist, unbothered.
Oh, I love the sound of that. Tell me more.
Everything in her theoretical apartment is white. It is full of clean lines, lots of negative space. Maybe there is one single perfectly manicured white orchid sitting in the center of an imported marble kitchen island. The mechanism here is that it is a space completely and utterly devoid of clutter, which represents Lorenzo's toxic energy. You cannot bring drama into that apartment. It bounces right off the pristine white walls. She has established impenetrable boundaries, just like a minimalist establishes rules about what objects are allowed in their space.
I want to live there. It sounds so peaceful. Finally, I have to do Ellie. I am assigning Ellie wall-to-wall mirrors.
Like a funhouse, every single wall.
Every single wall, the ceiling, the back of the doors, the inside of the cabinets. Because after the sheer public tragedy of that lightning bolt foundation tear streak, she needs to be able to physically double-check her makeup from every conceivable angle at all times to prevent another legendary cosmetic disaster. It is a trauma response manifested in interior design.
It is highly practical and entirely necessary for her survival. Which brings us to segment 3, holiday or heartbreak.
The mission for this segment is to choose the major couples and decide if they would survive specific real-world relationship milestones. We are taking them out of the villa and putting them into the wild.
Let's start with the most chaotic pairing, Simba and Angelista. The milestone. Building a complicated piece of IKEA furniture together, like a wardrobe.
Oh, heartbreak. They fail. They absolutely fail within the first 10 minutes.
Walk me through the psychological breakdown of this failure.
Okay, they get the boxes into the apartment. Simba would open the box, take one look at the instruction manual, immediately throw it in the recycling bin, and claim he is on a self-development journey to build the bookshelf his own unique way. He would tell Angelista that manuals stifle his truth.
And because of his weaponized incompetence, he would end up building a chair by accident instead of a wardrobe.
Exactly. And Angelista, who has been trying to organize the dowels and screws, would just stare at him, realize that their connection is in fact not divinely ordained, pack her bags, and literally walk out of the apartment, leaving him sitting on his accidental chair surrounded by leftover Allen wrenches.
Total heartbreak. A systemic failure of communication. Next up, Kavan and Jasmine. The milestone. A 2-week, all-inclusive beach vacation.
Heartbreak. They fail miserably. They do not make it to the flight home.
Paint the picture of the itinerary of failure.
Okay, they get to the resort. Day 1 is totally fine. They are taking pictures by the pool. Day 2, Kavan gets slightly bored. He wanders over to the resort bar next door to get a drink while Jasmine is taking a nap. He ends up aggressively flirting with the bartender for 3 hours. He comes back to their hotel room. Jasmine checks his phone or finds out she confronts him, and he legitimately claims that the other resort was a separate bubble, so technically the flirting didn't count because he couldn't visually see their hotel room from the bar.
Out of sight, out of mind. He would genuinely believe it too. His cognitive dissonance would protect his ego. Total heartbreak. What about Samraj and Micah, the milestone? A weekend city break to Paris or Rome. Fast-paced, lots to do.
See, I think they might actually survive this. They are toxic, but they stick together.
I agree. They survive the trip, but the mechanics of their survival are deeply, deeply toxic. It is a survival built on mutual suffering.
How so? Walk me through their Parisian nightmare.
They get to the city. Micah looks at the museum itinerary Samraj planned and bursts into tears in the middle of a cobblestone street. Why? Because he scheduled the Louvre at 9 a.m. and she feels like he isn't respecting her need to sleep in. And somehow, she manages to bring up that time he kissed someone in a challenge 3 years ago as proof that he never listens to her.
Naturally. She pulls from the archives.
Samraj, who knows the formula, apologizes profusely. He begs for forgiveness in front of the Eiffel Tower, buys her a highly expensive pastry. And to show the world how dramatic and deeply in love they are, they end up dragging their expensive hotel mattress out onto the tiny Juliet balcony of their room and sleeping outside in the cold Parisian air just to prove a point to absolutely no one.
That is so incredibly them. They survive the trip, but everyone who witnesses their dynamic is exhausted. The bellhop is exhausted. The concierge needs a vacation. All right, let's move to our final segment. Segment 4, Tomorrow Night Predictions.
The mission. Each of us shares a major prediction, a green flag we are looking out for, a red flag we are worried about, and one completely chaotic theory that somehow feels possible. You take the floor first.
Okay, here we go. My biggest prediction for tomorrow night is that Angelista is going to take Simba back. I know it hurts to say. I know she said she was done. She held her ground at the fire pit. But he is going to make her a nice avocado toast breakfast. He's going to use some more spiritual buzzwords. She is going to cave to the trauma bond, and they will be back together before the sun sets.
Sadly, I think you are entirely correct. The isolation of the villa makes it too hard to stay mad. What is your green flag?
My biggest green flag is Jasmine. I am looking for her to refuse to take Kavan back immediately and actually hold her ground. We rarely see the girls stand firm when the boys come crawling back with their tails between their legs, and I am so proud of her for not letting him off the hook so far. A boundary is a beautiful thing.
We love a strictly enforced boundary. What about your red flag?
Sean gossiping to Lola, it is giving massive, messy producer plant energy. Why is he stirring the pot? It feels calculated to create drama where there was none, and I don't trust his motivations. He's playing a game.
He is definitely auditioning for more screen time and your chaotic theory.
Okay, hear me out on this. Charlene and Jasmine are scheduled to have a one-on-one chat tomorrow night. I think they're going to sit down, compare their notes on Kavan, realize that Kavan's inability to commit is the common denominator in the actual problem, and they are going to team up. They are going to ice him out of the villa entirely. It will be their bestie era.
I would pay premium cable subscription prices to see that happen. A total usurpation of power. Okay, my turn. My biggest prediction. The producers are tired of the lies. Movie night is coming next week, and Finn's ridiculous my body physically rejected her excuse is going to be exposed in 4K high-definition resolution on the big screen, and Ellie is going to scorch the earth.
Oh, the tear streaks will be back. The foundation will run. I cannot wait. What's your green flag?
My biggest green flag is the host, Maya Jama. She actively stoked the flames by asking the Casa girls to spill the tea before they were dumped. She didn't have to ask them anything. She knew exactly what she was doing. She's not just a host. She is an agent of chaos, and I deeply respect her craftsmanship as a television producer in that moment.
She looked beautiful doing it, too. A true professional. Red flag.
Lorenzo. Specifically, Lorenzo trying to gaslight Yasmin into feeling guilty for moving on when he literally did the exact same thing by bringing Julia back. It is textbook manipulation, it relies on entirely false equivalencies, and we need to keep a very close eye on his behavior moving forward.
Totally toxic. Okay, hit me with your chaotic theory to close this out.
My chaotic theory. Simba realizes Angelista might actually be done with him, and he realizes Mara is completely onto his nonsense and won't be his safety net. So, in a desperate bid for survival to avoid being dumped from the island, he drops both Angelista and Mara and tries to crack on with someone completely random, like Priya, just to secure a spot in the villa before a public vote.
Oh my God. The Lion King striking again. That would break the internet. But Priya would end him. She would verbally destroy him.
It would be glorious Shakespearean television.
Babes, what an episode. The drama, the psychological warfare, the betrayal, the utter delusion. Snark Squad, we need you to hit up the comments immediately. We have very important questions for you. First of all, what is the best meal you have had recently? Did you have a spiritual pasta experience like me, or are you manifesting snacks?
Secondly, we need to settle the philosophical debate of the week. Would you choose a beach body or unlimited amazing pasta with absolutely zero consequences?
And finally, based on everything we analytically broke down tonight, which islander would be the absolute worst person to decorate an apartment with?
Yeah.
My money is still firmly on Kavan and his strobe light dorm room vibes.
Thank you all so much for listening to us spiral on the couch over this absolute madness. Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a 5-star review if you enjoyed the banter, and please share this episode with another messy babe in your life who needs to dissect this reality TV chaos.
Stay flirty, stay fabulous, and we'll see you on the Snark side.
And remember, before you text your ex tonight, just ask yourself, is he giving you quiet luxury or is he giving you a separate bubble of Facebook Marketplace chic? Stay strong out there.